Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Joshua Mayne Hangout. I'm here with Tim Murphy, and we're here to talk about the Women's World Croquet Championships that are going on right now. So, Tim is an amateur croquet player, and he suggested that we do a video about this. So, I guess it's over to you, Tim.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's the second Women's World Championship that's going on at the moment. It started on Saturday, our time. So Saturday night, our time. It's in England, and the Aussie girls have been doing really good.
So, is there a favourite to win the competition?
Well, the favourites certainly Jenny Clark from New Zealand. She won the first World Championship, Women's World Championship, back in 2012. Jenny is a very good player within the world rankings, full stop. I don't know where she's at the moment, possibly around about 15. Apologies to Jenny if I'm way off mark. She has been in the top 10 of the world rankings. That includes men and women. And she is on a world rankings ranked well ahead of the rest of the field. The second ranked player is Alison Sharp from Australia and from New South Wales. And last time the pair of them met in the final. So that's still on the cards for this time round. We've got the semi-finals playing tonight, and as it turns out, the top 4 seeds of the tournament have made it through to the semi-finals.
And it seems to be that New Zealand is that a pattern that you've noticed?
I'm sorry, you broke up there. Could you repeat that, Josh?
It seems to be that New Zealand are producing high-quality croquet players. Are you noticing that pattern?
Yeah, New Zealand definitely do have very good New Zealand players. Australia arguably has the greatest depth of good women croquet players, and England has a reasonable depth with 2 of the girls in the semi-final tonight. And obviously, being in England, they had a very big field. It was a field of 36. I don't know how many England had, but it feels as though they would have had around the 10 mark. Australia had 8 that got automatic selection through to the event, and we had 3 of our ladies enter the qualifying event the weekend prior, and there were 4 places up for grabs, and our 3 girls grabbed 3. They grabbed 3 of the 4 places, so we had 11 in all, which, given it's the other side of the world for us, is a fantastic number of people. And the Kiwis had 4 people who were selected, and I don't think the Kiwis had a representative in the qualifying event. I could be wrong, though.
And where can we keep up with the scores of this competition?
At croquetscores.com, the world's best croquet results program.
And do you know who runs that website?
Yeah, pretty good-looking bloke, I've heard. Me.
So how's the development of croquetscores.com going, and have you gotten a lot of support recently?
Yeah, well, so I started Croquet Scores back in 2012, and it's really gone gangbusters. It's far exceeded my expectations. The entire world uses it, and yeah, it's a donation-based system, and so Australia in particular, the Australian Association and various states throughout Australia have give regular donations of of a sizable amount, which helps me greatly. And I do get other amounts from around the world, but Australia and New Zealand are sort of the two bigger donators. And I get donations from individuals as well. Again, that tends to come from Australia. The US, I've got a few from there. So yeah, it's it's been a while since I've looked at the number of page views, but I get. Last time I looked, I've been averaging over 1 million page views a year. So just extraordinary.
That's a pretty amazing achievement. I mean, the website that you created, you must feel really proud.
Yeah, very, Josh. It was something that I wanted to do for a long time, and I've actually got Rosie Landry to thank. She's an Australian. Way back in 2006, is that why she did it? Yes, way back in 2006, Australia was hosting the McRobertson Shield. That's a teams event between the top 4 nations, Australia, New Zealand, England and the US. And Rosie wanted a system to report the scores and approached me to do it. And so for a long time we were just running a Windows program only open to major Australian events. And then leading up to the World Championships, I was thinking, and then in 2012, Australia was hosting the World Championships, and it was in the back of my mind that I was finally going to pull the trigger and create croquetscores.com so the whole world could use the program. And not surprisingly, Rosie came and nudged me along and encouraged me to do it. So Rosie's a really good mate of mine, and on this front, she's been a real behind the scenes pusher to get the site up and running, and has been terrific support.
Well, I'll definitely make sure to leave a link of your website in the description below this video so people can check it out.
Cool. Thank you.
And so you've got croquetscores.com, but what's your thought on the lack of media coverage, particularly TV, of major croquet events?
Well, it's a difficult one. I mean, it is, TV will decide what they will decide. I can understand why we don't have any, footage, but it is disappointing when the previous World Championships, not just the Women's World Championships, Australian Robert Fletcher won it, and he had like 2 interviews, I think one on SBS and one on The Project on Channel 10, and that was it. That's all the coverage we got, and I had tweeted my head off to sports writers, etc., and that's all we got. And I think that that's poor. I think that if we get a world champion, that should be publicised. That should be on news items. It just has to be a short one. Go, oh, croquet, we've got another world champion. Blah blah blah. So, so it is disappointing, the coverage that we don't get, but I'm hoping that Alison comes through on the semi and the final, and I'll push again via Twitter to get some coverage. Fingers crossed it won't meet a dead end, but I kind of expect it will.
Well, I'll make sure, if I'm to become a sports journalist later in life, to make sure to publicise croquet, because I know it's a sport you love, and there are a lot of other Australians that really enjoy it as well. So I think it's all about equal coverage of all sports. I'm not saying we put on croquet at prime time or anything, but at least, give these people that have put a lot of hard work and effort a bit of a mention in the media.
Yeah, I agree, Josh. I think, as I said, if you've become world champion, you deserve to be recognised, and so we'll hopefully you'll be able to lead the front on changing the current policies.
And are there any other major croquet tournaments coming up that the viewers should be interested in checking out?
No, not that come to mind. For Australia in Association Croquet, the next major tournament is the President's Eights, but that's not until the weekend after the October long weekend. Traditionally, it has been the October long weekend, but because of the football earlier this year, what was it? Australia hosted the Asian Cup. Was that what it was called, Joshua? And anyway, that's fiddled with the AFL. So for the first time in a very long time, the grand final of the AFL will not be the fourth Sunday in September. It will be the October long weekend. Therefore, for pricing of accommodation, etc., the Australian Croquet Association moved the President's Eights to the weekend after the long weekend, which makes sense. So I've been selected for that, so I more than likely will attend. So that's the next Association Croquet event. Golf Croquet event, actually, there is the Australian Men's and Women's Open. I would say it's about 6 weeks ago. I don't know. I don't play golf croquet, so I don't follow it close enough to be able to pull that off the top of my head. On the world scene, probably the next major event is the Worlds. That's for male and female. It's a co-ed comp, and that is in April in the US. So that's what we're still talking about 9 months away.
And finally, just to sum up this quick interview, do you have any tips for anyone interested in joining the sport that is croquet?
Well, the best thing to do if you're in Australia is to Google for your state croquet association, and they'll then be able to point you in direction of a local club who will then be able to hook you up with lessons. So just do a Google for if you live in New South Wales, just do a Google for Croquet New South Wales, and I'm sure you'll find the representing body there and contact details.
Okay, well, thanks for happily being interviewed today, Tim. I really enjoyed it, learning more and more about the game that you love each video.
Cool. Thank you, Joshua.
And I'll make sure to leave a link to your Twitter and croquet scores in the description below. And I'll also leave a link to my Twitter and my newsletter about the EPL. So make sure to check all those links out and help support us. So thanks again, Tim, for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, mate. Catch you later. Thank you.
Okay, bye, everyone.